FM. We're also streaming from the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and of course you can always find us too on your local SuperTalk Mississippi radio station, and you can watch good things. We are on your computer, your mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. You'll see I'm not alone in the studio today. I got some folks with the Mississippi Department of Rehab joining us. We're excited to celebrate the new Center for the Blind that is opening up on the coast at the 1st of March. So joining us is Chris Howard. He's the Executive Director of Mississippi Department of Rehab. And we've got Miss Dorothy Young. She's the Director of Vocational Rehab for the Blind. So welcome, y'all.
Good afternoon.
And congratulations, Dorothy. I feel like this is in your sort of area of the department. So how exciting is this new facility?
It is very exciting. It has been about 2.5 years, Rebecca, that Chris, our Executive Director, Howard, who's with me today, has been working to establish this center for our fellow Mississippians who live with blindness and low vision. So we're very excited about it.
So, Chris, 2 years ago, who came to who and said, you know what, we know what we need to add. We need to add another building because we need more services.
Yeah,
so
Dorothy's being sweet. Actually, this was Dorothy's idea because, we've got the Addie McBride Center that's, attached to the University Med Center, and it's more of a traditional type training for individuals who are blind or visually impaired. And this new center we're opening up is a totally different way of training individuals who are blind or visually impaired. And currently Mississippi does not have, something like this. We were having to send clients out of state, say to Louisiana or maybe up north. So Dorothy came to me a couple years ago and said, look, I don't like sending my clients out of state away from their families.
Absolutely.
I want them in Mississippi. So I said, all right, let's see what we can do. And she's done a great job getting the approval from the federal folks who, are federal partners and really getting this thing ready to open.
I didn't think about it that way, Dorothy, in terms of we get new ways of teaching our kids math or teaching reading or teaching like whatever else when new forms of understanding get better. So why not in other areas that there would be innovation in ways of sort of training or teaching or educating? So what was the gap there? What did you see that Mississippi didn't have to offer? Why were they having to go out of state for services?
Because we didn't offer the alternative training method that's called structured discovery. It's about maybe 3 or 4 states that offer structured discovery training. And so our younger clients were choosing this type of training because it teaches true independence on how to live blind, because everyone is put under what we call learning shades. So whether you are totally blind, that's with no light perception, or you visually impaired or have low vision, and maybe down the road, your vision impairment, you may lose more vision, like with macular degeneration or glaucoma. So we prepare you in this training to live blind by putting you under learning shades. And we put you in meaningful real-life experiences to where we teach you how to problem solve and navigate with cane travel, being totally blind, living in your own apartment, washing your own clothes, being blind, ironing your clothes. Everything is done under what we call learning shades. We teach you how to live blind. So just in case, we hope it never happens, but I've had a client that went through this training. I sent them to Louisiana Center for the Blind to get this structured discovery training. He had macular degeneration, and years down the road, he did lose his sight, but he was not afraid.
He was ready and prepared.
He was ready and prepared. So that's what this training does. It prepares you to live blind.
And so we're talking about people of all ages and stages of life that will get to utilize this center.
Correct. When we looked at the data, and Chris is, he's the executive director, so he's nice, right? I'm not going to say he's not nice, but when he wants something done,
somebody to say different.
Yeah, he said, get it done.
Yeah.
He said, we should not have to be sending, I don't care, Dorothy, if it's one client that wants this training, we should be able to offer it here. And so that's what we did. So what happens is we were sending clients out of state, maybe at the most, Rebecca, 10 to 15. They were either going to Louisiana Center for the Blind, they were either going to Minnesota, Blind Inc., or they were going to Baltimore, BISM. That's the name of those training centers. And so we said, we don't want to continue to send them out of state. So this training center here, we have apartments that we're leasing. Thanks to Chris Howard and Department of Finance and Administration that approved the leasing of apartments. And individuals will come to the training center every day, and then we will transport them home, or they will walk home, because the apartment's about 1.2 miles from the training center.
How long does the training take?
6 to 9 months, but truly, that's what we say general, global. But I've never seen a client, in my experience, that stays 6 to 9 months. It's really a year, because you think you're learning you're on the sleep shade. So at first you're going to be what? Afraid.
Absolutely.
And then after
Anxious.
that, you got to get used to it, right? You got to build that confidence up. So I tell people 6 to 9 months because that's what the book tells us. That's your research on it. But reality, it's about a year training.
So in this training, Chris, is in this apartment, do they have like a teacher there with them? And maybe not watching them sleep, that's weird. But like wake up and then have someone walk you through your apartment, like other than just putting you in an area that's supervised and you sort of figuring it out. What's the training aspect? If that makes sense?
I mean, I think you have an instructor really through the orientation part of it,
Right.
but as the individual goes through the training, it's really more upon the individual. Because I know we come a lot on the radio and we talk about workforce, putting people with disabilities back to work and to work. But the really cool thing about this center, as well as our Addie McBride Center, I mean, we're teaching individuals daily living skills. Dorothy mentioned the apartment. Yeah, these individuals are going to have to take care of themselves. They're not going to have, like you said, that instructor who's just going to be sitting in the chair in the corner watching over them.
Right.
I mean, they're going to have to, learn to set an alarm, get up, take a shower, make their breakfast, get ready, make sure their clothes match, and get to that training center for that training. So it's really more than just employment. I mean, it's teaching daily living skills to how to go from sun up to sundown if you're blind or visually impaired.
And I would assume watching their mental health levels change over the
Right.
training. Because, yeah, man, you talk about that right now. I get sweaty thinking about it. Like, not, if you went straight to that. And so watching them gain the confidence, I think, would be the right word for it.
Yeah, and we do have an apartment manager. Just like at our Addie McBride Center, we have a dorm staff person because the Addie McBride Center difference is we have dorms there. So when clients come to the Addie McBride Center for training, they can live there. And people don't know that people are actually living there, our clients at Addie McBride for 6 to 9 months to go through training. Okay, so they have that dorm room and that you have a dorm supervisor there that makes sure that the bed is made and different things. Not in this type of training, right? We have an apartment manager. They will teach you at the training center. The training center is set up to where we have a full-fledged kitchen and we have everything that you have in an apartment we have at this center. Washer, dryer, folding table, ironing board, everything. We teach you that there, how under sleep shades. When you go home, you got to do the same thing because at this training center, you do not have a cafeteria there. Addie McBride has a cafeteria where we contract out the food from UMMC. They bring in the trays and everybody knows what's on the menu. No. If you want to eat at this training center, you're going to prepare your food at home, bring it there. We have lockers set up, a lounge room for the students so they can take their lunch breaks. And if they don't bring their lunch, Rebecca, then they don't eat that day.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, too. I was talking.
Rough.
Yeah, we rough.
I
Send my kid? My husband?
Now, I was going to say, I talked to a young lady who went through the training in Baltimore, and, she basically said, her parents drove her up there, and her parents thought they were going to take her to a room, unpack her suitcase, and the supervisor was like, y'all stay here at the door. It's her responsibility to get her suitcases up to her room, get everything unpacked, get everything in the drawers. So it's teaching individuals survival. I mean, it's really what it is. How to survive on their own.
But it's self-confidence too.
That's
like
right,
it's building their empowerment for when they are out, and hopefully they don't ever have to face full, sight loss. But if they do, then you would rather have the skills going into it than trying to figure that out when you are faced with it.
One of the things that Ricky said, this guy that I was interviewing yesterday, he said when you lose sight, have you ever thought about when you lose your sight, what am I going to do? This training prepares you to let you know just because I lost my sight or losing my sight, I can still live the life that I choose to because I received this training. And I will say the mayor there in Long Beach and the whole community, Long Beach is known to be a friendly city, right? And the center is located in a community, right? And so the staff that we've hired, they're blind. It just so happen to be blind. They're qualified, they're certified teachers for the blind. And so they've been walking to work every morning, right, with their canes. The police has escorted and stopped, said, y'all need some help? They're like, no, we're going to work. They said, work where? So we have a training center here. The mayor has sent over people, the police, the chief of police has.
Y'all calling a ruckus.
Oh, we have called a ruckus.
In Long Beach.
Oh, yes, Long Beach is really excited about it, yeah.
Well, and I think that's so good, though. It also brings up the good conversation that if you see someone with a cane or you see something out there, they're learning and they have their skills. We're going to get to the name of the new center as well as y'all's upcoming event March 1st coming up next. And you can always find us, too, on that local SuperTalk Mississippi radio station, or you can watch us on SuperTalk TV on your computer or your mobile device. We're continuing the celebration with the Mississippi Department of Rehab. They are opening a new blind center on the coast. Coming up, grand opening is March 1st. And we've got Miss Dorothy Young, the director, as well as Chris Howard, the executive director of Mississippi Department of Rehab. And, okay, so Miss Dorothy, coming up March 1st, this is going to be a big day, big event. All the hard work over the last 2 years finally gets to come to the ribbon cutting. Where's our emotions? How does it feel?
Humble.
Yeah.
I'm just very humble.
Or tired.
Thank God. He is good. That's what I wrote on my paper here. God is good. He
All
is
the
so
time.
good. And so, last words, March 1st, we're going to have the grand opening and the name of the center because Mr. Howard wanted a buy-in from the staff. So we had a contest at our agency. We got plenty of names. Jennifer, who's our communications director, did a wonderful job orchestrating that, her and her team. But we did have a winner. Her name is Miss Samantha Ashmore, and she's one of my counselors in the Hinds County area here. So she won the naming of the center. And the name of the center is Mississippi Emerge. And Chris is going to tell us what Emerge is because I don't remember.
We're going to have a quiz at the end of Good Things for what it will mean. It wouldn't be a good state or whatever program without having an acronym of some kind.
You know what?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
So what does Mississippi Emerge Center stand for, Chris?
It stands for Encouraging Mississippi Employment, Resilience, Growth, and Empowerment.
Right.
Which comes back to what the base foundation of the Department of Rehab is workforce development, getting those living with disabilities the opportunity to be out in the workforce and be independent. And you got to do that with resilience and growth, and then you guys helping to empower them to sort of do so. So I see this overarching. Did she win something for winning the Emerge?
She's gonna win. She's gonna win the lottery.
She is. Oh wow! Does she know
She's
that?
won the lottery. And
she needs her picture like on the wall. Like we need a formal painting for her in the center.
Yes. Jennifer is her team is going to at the grand opening. I'm sure they're going to surprise her with something. But we have a guest speaker. Senator Bryce Wiggins will be there because, as you know, our Mississippi legislators work with Chris on getting this established. So he'll be our guest speaker. The mayor of Long Beach will be there, and I think Jennifer, our communications director, has some more folks lined up also to just speak on on establishing the center. But we're excited about it, Rebecca.
So that's 2:00 coming up Friday. Don't forget you can listen to Good Things in podcast form after.
Okay.
Time to just say no. It's perfectly fine if you go there. So where's the center located?
It's located on 301 North Cleveland Avenue, and we're leasing the church, St. Patrick Episcopal Church. So we're leasing that church, and it's located on 301 North Cleveland Avenue in Long Beach.
And you mentioned that you were sharing before the break that the individuals that staff and are working in the Emerge Center, they're also visually impaired. What is it like for those? Or maybe have we had participants come through yet to our particular center? I know we've been sending them to centers like this out of state, but have we had successful participants yet, or is this the grand opening?
Oh no, and the highlight of this is so the clients that we did send out of state for training, for this type of training, they have returned home, some of them, and one of them just returned home in November, and she's finished her training, and she's going to be one of our employees there. She lives in the Long Beach area, and she's going to be one of our teachers. She's going to be our home management teacher.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
So how many clients can you put through the center at one time?
Up to 10.
Up to 10.
Up to 10. Right now we have as we increase the apartments, we can have more students, but right now we can say up to 10 clients.
And that's up to 6 to 9 months to even up to a year for them to sort of go through the actual training. What are the requirements to be a part of this training?
All clients should be eligible for vocational rehab services for the blind. So they would have to be a client of the agency because that's how we pay for the services. So every client that's out here listening, every consumer, if you're interested in receiving any type of vocational rehab training, just call our office, 1-800-443-1000. Tell them you're looking for services for vocational rehab for the blind. We will connect you with a counselor that's located close to the county area that they live. Counselor come out, take an application, we'll get their eye report because everything is based off of that eye report. And that's how we can find out what's your vision acuity and what's the impairment. And then after that, we make you eligible and you can come to the center.
And then you come to the center and go through it. So is that a year away from home if they commit to this? I mean, it's a commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So they would need to know up front that this was a commitment for 6 months to a year.
6 to 9 months. But this training is going to be a little different. We're going to have a transition piece because we're going to involve internships, volunteer, and things back in their community at home. So the transition won't be as hard for that person going back home because we're going to have counselors and our career counselors that's going to be working in the community. So say, for instance, the person is going to come to us from Holmes County. That's where I'm from, right? Before that person transitions back home, we're going to be in that like that 3rd or 4th month to where we send the person back home on an internship or volunteering in the community. Or some type of project back in that community so that person can use the skills that they learn at the center back at home. So by the time that individual leaves, getting ready to graduate, 2 things are going to be able to happen. Well, really 3. 1, they're going to be independent to live on their own if they so choose to. 2, we're going to have certifications that we're going to offer at the center. Right? So that person will leave with a certification that's going to be recognized to help them get a better job. And then the 3rd is they're going to be offered a job. We are working with a company so that once they finish this training, they can go to work.
Which encouraging Mississippi employment.
Right. So even though they'll be away from home, we're going to have a transition phase back in to where they won't be just there for 9 months to a year. They're going to go home for a week or they'll go home for 2 weeks and they'll work. And then they'll come back and then they'll tell us how was that experience and anything that we need to work on while they're still in training.
This is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is awesome. Chris, I can see why when she came to you with this, Miss Dorothy, you were like, yes, go forth and figure it out.
She's a great salesperson.
Yeah, this is somebody just told me. Details, Dorothy can't do details, but she can sell you something.
Dorothy gonna keep her next idea to herself.
Right.
I'm totally kidding. Chris is like, please, no, that's what it is. But when we think about Department of Rehab, Chris, I mean, this is just one of many areas that you guys are trying to figure out the needs for Mississippians and then figure out how to bring it about and how to sort of create it. You obviously find great staff in Dorothy and others who are passionate about it. So whereas like right now the department has tons of thousands of things going on, but other than the Blind Center, y'all got other thing that's pressing or kind of emerging, should I say?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the cool things about being executive director is I always encourage them to think outside the box. You know, just because we've done something for 20 years doesn't mean we need to keep doing it for 20 years. So, you know, Dorothy thought outside the box, came up with the Structured Discovery Center. But, you know, Project Search is something we really love, and we were able to bring that to Mississippi about 5 or 6 years ago. We're heading into prom season. You know, we're fixing to go travel the state, going to high schools, talking to kids about, you know, making smart decisions on one of the funnest but yet deadliest nights of a high schooler's career. So to do prom, you know, Project Search, internships, you know, we are really pushing businesses hard to say, hey, you know, you may not be hiring right now, but what about an internship? What if we help pay the wages for that person to gain that valuable work experience, and hopefully everything works out and you hire that person at the end.
And if you're listening, you wonder, well, you know, I don't live with a disability or anybody in my home. What does this have to do with me? And now you think about prom or hunting season. I know y'all have come in through that. You're like, you or someone you love is one bad day away from, you know, being a client of you guys. I mean, you hate to say it that way, but it's being aware of what's out there or being proactive, like Ms. Dorothy talking about. If you have gotten a bad diagnosis that's maybe sending your vision in a trajectory that, you know, is unfortunate, go ahead and be empowered and take advantage of these things. So if and when you're better prepared to sort of make that transition. It's so hard to tell y'all's story because there's just so many good moving parts sort of to it for us to keep that conversation sort of going. Okay, Ms. Dorothy, though, if someone's not ready for 6 months away from home, but they're living with visual impairment or maybe have it on the horizon, what other things do you guys specifically offer?
I'm glad you asked that. We started an adult coaching program for individuals that were living with blindness and they were having issues with living in blindness, right? Or living with their low vision. So we have an adult coaching program through our Addie McBride Center to where once a month we meet with individuals over conference call, over Zoom, and we have different group coaching sessions to help them live with their blindness and to help them make decisions on different types of services. And I tell people all the time, when your doctor tells you you're losing your sight, the next thing that you need to do is have one moment that you feel sorry for yourself, and in the second moment, be calling vocational rehab for the blind.
Because as long as you have got trained up and you know what's coming, you can be a better face today.
We can give you other opportunities.
We can give you other opportunities. Well, it sounds like great opportunities are coming up March 1st. If people want to learn more about Mississippi Emerge Center, how do they do that?
They can contact Jennifer Gray, our communications director, at 1-800-443-1000. Our email address is www.mdrs.ms.gov, and there we'll get you signed up. Or you can ask for any counselor out there for vocational rehab for the blind.
We're also on social media, Facebook, Twitter. Trying to think, I'm old. I can't remember what the other ones are, but 53, man, we do Facebook. So
you're always welcome back here at Good Things. So thank you for your time. You guys stick with us.